Dallas. We have a fabulous guest on our show today. I have Miss Sheila. She is the founder of C-Life, and she is just one of those people that you really just want to have in your corner. So she's a great support system. She's a great sister in the faith. She's really been a necessity in my life. So I wanted to give her accolades for her foundation. So, Sheila, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So I have been looking forward to this for some time. I really appreciate you getting me on. I really love the work that you do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I love everything that you're doing too. So, your organization stems over to Cameroon, is that correct?
Yes, yes. That's where I'm originally from. I grew up in a town called Douala, which
Mhm.
is the economic capital of Cameroon. But yes, that's primarily where our work is from. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, I know your organization is it stems to your experience in the city itself. So, tell the viewers about Sea Life and why you're so passionate about it.
Yes. So C-Life is a nonprofit that we raise up transformational leaders in Africa so that they can be the ones to do the transformation, the community development in Africa themselves. You know, when you think about Africa, many a times you think about the need that Africa has. It could be poverty, it could be food, the poverty translates into food or clean water. And so you have many great people that are doing all these kind of development work everywhere in Africa. One of the biggest things that I saw was when I was in South Sudan. I saw South Sudan, if for those who don't know, they had been and still are been fighting for over 40 years. So there's been lots of instability. Um, and so I went to this country when they had gotten independence. They were celebrating their second year anniversary of being the newest country in the world. And it was very not developed at all. Of course, they've been fighting for over 40 years, but the whole place was swamped with NGOs. You know, USA Aid was there, all the Norwegian nonprofits were there. So there were a lot of development organizations there doing work. And they've been doing this work for many, many years. And I felt like the Lord just gave me that vision to see the landscape and see the development work happening, and yet there was no significant sustainable change.
Mhm.
And I felt the Lord just impress in my heart that that is, I want you to create a different kind of organization that will raise up the local leaders so that they will be the ones doing the transformation. So we say that at C-Life, our vision is to see African leaders transforming their own communities with integrity, with excellence, all for the glory of God. And so, in order to do this work, we raise up young people. Usually, they're in their 20s to 40s. We've had people in their 60s come through the program. There is no age for transformation, right? But bottom line is, we train them in three core areas: Christian discipleship, which focuses on their faith and how they can lead in the marketplace using their faith. You know, sometimes as Christians, we feel like, okay, my Christian faith is one thing when I'm in the marketplace, when I'm in my career, that's another space, right? Those two worlds don't collide, but we're helping them see the bridge, helping them see that as an accountant and a Christian that happens to be an accountant,
Mhm.
then they have to do their work differently because they serve a God that expects different, maybe
Right.
integrity. You know, Cameroon is a highly corrupt country and so forth. So we teach them that kind of perspective. We teach them servant leadership. You can lead others until you learn to lead yourself. So they take some classes in self-leadership, understanding themselves. They do a lot of spiritual gift tests and just
Mhm.
really get to see their strengths and embrace their strengths, um, and make the connection that God made them uniquely that way. And because they are they're uniquely gifted in that way, they can use that in advancing their career or creating a business so
Mm-hmm.
that they can be financially sustained. And then finally is career development, which just takes those two pieces and flushes it out to the last piece of career development, where we help them create a job profile on LinkedIn, how to interview, how to resolve conflict, how to communicate, all those incredible soft skills that we all learn. Well, some of us learn it when we're in school and so forth. So that's how the program works. Yeah.
I love that. When I first heard about your organization, the fact that you are helping to establish community leaders, people to stand up in their community and to make it better, I was like, wow, like you're really doing something so much more different than anybody else I've really heard. So you've had a lot of success with this, right? How many graduates you've had, or how many leaders have stemmed out of your program so far?
Absolutely. So our core program, which I just explained, is called our servant leadership um, program, and we do it in cohorts. So right now we are recruiting for our 18th and 19th cohort. We do two a year, and so far it's close to 400. We're going to 400 leaders that have been through that cohort. And the powerful thing about training leaders and raising up transformational leaders is that they raise up other leaders. So you train one leader, and training one leader is training 1,000 people, right? Because
Mhm.
they set up their own organizations, they set up businesses, they are just high in their productivity at work, and so we get stories. Just this morning, actually, this morning I was talking to one of the staff. He's one of our communication engagement managers. So we had a visit from one of the business schools that we take interns from, and they came to visit us because they were like, all the students that have done their internship with us at C-Life have just scored so high in their professional exams. So they wanted to come and see the program, how we're training them, why they're doing so well, and so forth. So it was such an honor to get that kind of visit um, at our office, and get
Mhm.
that kind of feedback. Um, and so for us, our success stories are our alumni. We say we exist for their success. When they are successful, we are successful. And I love that dynamic because we are all about allowing them to succeed and creating the right environment where they can be their best as God has gifted them and wants them to be. And so we have young people who have started businesses, young man who has an accounting firm. We have young man who started Sam. He started a organization where he cleans the city all across the country now, and he's won several awards. We have a young lady who just got a million. She won a grant for 1 million francs
Mhm.
for her clinic. And I actually personally visited her clinic when I went on a mission trip last year to C-Life.
Mhm.
She and her husband went through C-Life, and her story is so remarkable. Just an incredible young lady. So when she came to C-Life, she said she had this big. She had a clinic,
Mhm.
but she didn't know how to run it, and she felt like her ideas were crazy. And so when she came to C-Life, we encouraged her because they go in, it's introspective, right? Introspective before extrospective. Um,
Mhm.
and so she really got the courage. And I remember her so well because she sent a message to me, and she was like, we run this clinic, and I just want to know how to construct our vision, our mission. So I gave her our C-Life one pager. I said, just do your clinic, write a one page of your vision, mission, and all of that, and then that will help you to like really firm what you want to do. That was a challenge one of my mentors gave me when I was talking about C-Life, and so I was able to return the favor. And so she did that, and when I got the one pager back, I was like, you got this. I mean, you know exactly what you do. You're great. Just go do it. And so her husband came after her to take the program as well. And that's when you know a program is working. When the wife comes and then the husband comes or brother comes and then has their sister come and all of that. It's so humbling. So they started a clinic and they've been doing very well. They do a lot of outreach in their community. Their facility is excellent, very clean, very organized, great customer service. And if you know Cameroon, that's a diamond in the rough.
Yes, I have seen the videos that you have shared with me about your trip, your mission trip that you went to Cameroon, or you went to go visit everybody out there just to, and you were sharing the videos. I was like, wow, Cameroon is so diverse. I'm just gonna say it. Like, in school, they don't really teach you that Africa is that diverse. They try to teach you that Africa is like solely a third world country, that they're not developed, that they don't have education, all that kind of stuff. But that's not the case. There are so many talented people, educated people in Cameroon and in Africa in general that are just really doing some amazing things.
Absolutely. I mean, we are such a smart people. You know, God has made all of us so great. You know, we represent him. We are his image bearers. And so all of us uniquely have something that is powerful that can change and transform our communities, no matter where we come from. And sometimes some people are not given that kind of accolade. You know, the way you treat people reflects how you value them. Sometimes we don't value people because maybe they don't bring some financial prosperity or they live in a lower income area, whether it's in Africa, whether it's here, we do the same thing, right? But I think me being from Cameroon, one, and then my life just being transformed by the Lord. In all honesty, Rachel, the Jesus Christ is really the core reason why I do the work that I do. Is because he saved my life. He totally changed the person that I am. And the way I see things by his grace, I see it and try to continue to see it through his lens. I wanna treat people and value people the way he valued me when I did not value myself, you know?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
so 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 I'm just able to pass that on and create a team of people that are doing the same. And so what you mentioned about how we see people really determines how we help them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you see people like, oh, they just need a handout, they just need you to give them this, then you're limiting them. But
Right.
when you take the time, this our work is a long-term work. You know, you're not gonna, you ask me how many leaders have I trained? For 8 years, we've trained 300, almost 400 leaders. In numbers, that might seem pretty small, but in impact, it's huge, right? It's huge
Mm-hmm.
because if you have a teacher, another story, there are so many stories I can keep going on. A teacher who learned leadership. She learned servant leadership, and she learned that being a leader is not about a role, it's about influence, right? And you
Right.
influence people that are above you, below you, and your colleagues, right? She
Mm-hmm.
took that principle and taught her elementary school class. And then she put her elementary school into small groups where they could start cleaning their environment and all of that. All of that was based on training that she received. And now that's translated into the schools. We have people who are planting trees now in schools. They're just so over and over again. We have staff that came to us. All our staff are C-Life alumni, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they started, they didn't know as much. But now they've been on staff, some of them 5 years, 4 years, and so forth. I tell them they can run a whole country. based on how efficient they are. Because
Mhm,
I do the coaching from here.
mhm,
They do the work on the field. And so that's how you know that you are the C-Life lifestyle, the C-Life program is working, because the C-Life program is not about someone doing the work for the people. The C-Life program is about us training them and helping them to do the work for themselves. So for example, last year I went on a trip. This year we're going on a trip. So I want to be able to talk about the trip we're going to this year. This year we want to take a small group of Christian leaders. You could be an entrepreneur, a business leader, or you have a career. You could join me on a trip to go see the work that we're doing, to go visit some of the alumni, to participate in our training, to experience the trade fair that we're gonna do for all the alumni. All the alumni will get a chance to showcase some of their products and services. That way you get to see the kind of impact that they have in the midst of very, very hard conditions. You know,
mhm,
Cameroon has some instability in some pockets of the country. There's very high unemployment, especially among the young people. There is very high corruption. Cameroon is 144 out of 184 in terms of transparency index. That means that we are like right at the worst of the worst when it
mhm,
concerns corruption, right? And
mhm,
so all those kinds of things are really hard. Um, they're really hard to do business. They're really hard to advance. But these young people are doing that. Yeah.
mhm. Yes, I
Mhm.
can see God working through your organization. Like I just from like the first time I met you to right now, it's like you have this growth within your organization that only God can do that.
Mm.
It's instilling something in their hearts to for people to understand that it's not the people teaching you, but it's they're helping you help your community, which makes a bigger impact. Because I mean, let's put it in retrospect. If you were just to teach somebody, hey, I will teach you how to be the best, entrepreneur in the world, so you can build yourself up, that person's only going to think about themselves. But you have an organization where you're teaching them to be the best, but also help others and not forget where they came from. So, which is very
Very.
important. That's what that's what really makes me love your organization so much. And I honestly, I don't know if there's an organization in Dallas that does that. I'm
Mm.
just being realistic. Um,
You
because
know, mhm.
it's needed. It's needed everywhere.
And that is what we keep getting. We have some mutual friends, and they keep saying, we need a C-Life here, and that's one of the things we are working in the background to figure out how we can do C-Life here. Because everywhere we go, I met this lady who was doing some incredible jewelry at a trade show, handcrafted jewelry, and I shared with her about C-Life. She was like, oh my goodness, I want to do that for Brazil. I have some women that are being trafficked, and I want to be able to help them see a different way in which they can take care of themselves and take care of their communities. And so she was like, I want to do something like that. And so that is one of my challenges. I think that's the area that I need most prayer to be able to quiet myself and get the right team around me so that we can create that written model so that anyone who wanted to do a C-Life can do it. That it has always been outside of me, right? I just happen to be the first one that the Lord said, you do this, be the pioneer. But C-Life has always been bigger than me. So yeah,
Exactly.
to your point, that's what is cooking.
That's what's cooking. I love that. And I do want to kind of point out in the very beginning when you were talking, you said that it's like God wanted you to plant seeds. in the community. And that whenever you had that picture, it's like exactly that's what you're doing. You're implanting seeds of change and community and helping others. And isn't that what we're supposed to do? That is that's what God wants us to do, to help others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm, oh my
Absolutely.
goodness.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started this journey, I want to mention that there were pieces of my life that I did not understand. And in order for me to do what I'm doing, all those pieces finally came together in this work of C-Life. You know how sometimes you can feel like the experiences you have are kind of random? That's how
Hmm.
I felt like, oh, I've traveled. I did my undergrad in Africa, in Nairobi, sorry. I did my undergrad in Nairobi. But before my undergrad, the goal or my desire was to do my undergrad here in America. But I didn't get that opportunity. And so the next best thing, my mom said, go to Kenya, right? I wasn't very happy about that, not at all. But I went to Kenya and I went to an international university in Nairobi, Kenya, Kenya called USIU. Hello to my USIU people if you're ever watching. But that school really transformed my life. Not only was I in school with people from all around the world, right? But for the first time, I saw that Africa in a different light.
Hmm.
Just like you, being in Cameroon, I was dreaming about the American dream,
Hmm.
you know. But I realized that wow, Africa is there developed places in Africa. I remember when I was in Nairobi going to my driving to my school from the airport, I was looking up. I mean, there were tall buildings. I was like, I Nairobi is like some parts of New York, right? And I was
Hmm.
just like, wow, I did not know this existed. I saw people that looked like me, have heavy accents like I do. They were doing great things. They were leading, they were organized, and that sparked something in me. And I started traveling. I traveled in several places in Kenya and then all through East Africa, then went down south to places like Zimbabwe, South Africa. I went east to Tanzania, Uganda, and then I've traveled to different places like Rwanda and all these places. And as I travel in Africa, my love for Africa began. And
Hmm.
so that was a seed. You know, you talk about the seeds that God allows to be planted. Other people planted in your heart. That eventually those seeds come and they sprout this tree, and from this tree has all these fruits that you're able to nourish your world. So for me, that is what God did for me. As He planted the love for Africa in my heart by exposing me to travel in Africa and seeing the people, the places and the people and seeing their brilliance, you know, that's why for me it's easy to train the way we train, because the things that we train are things that I was trained in business school, in graduate school, you know, when
Hmm.
I was doing my MBA. Those are the kind of things they trained me on. So we train at such a high level, helping them use their mind so that we're teaching them how to think and not
Hmm.
teaching them what to think, if
Right.
that makes sense.
That
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, so it's that mind is we're helping them create their own ideas, come up with their own ideas based on how
Hmm.
they are uniquely bent, you know.
Hmm.
And so that is really what makes our program different. And I believe that that kind of approach, although it's a slower, more intense, it takes a lot to get that going, right? Although it's slower, it in the long run it's yielding better results, and those results are sustainable for a long time. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
so
Well, you,
those definitely important.
yeah, you want people to be in the program. It's not really a quantity over quality. You want to make sure that you have quality graduates, people who are succeeding the program, but they're actually getting it. Because I think when it comes to educating people, especially when you live in a fast-paced world, everybody wants everybody to be pushed through the system, but they get lost in the system. Like they're more mechanical than they are, inspirational, and they like you say, they forget how to think for themselves. They're doing just, I gotta get out of high school. I gotta find a job. I have to go to college, but I don't know what to do. It's like they lost their sense of purpose.
Mm.
And the fact that you are helping people find their purpose, but also that you're helping them help others is so beautiful to me.
Oh,
I'm
thank
just
you.
it still mesmerizes me that we met and we're talking about this, and oh my gosh, I love what you're doing. Just gonna say
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. I love your comment about how I've never thought about it that way. The comment that you made, and you said the when we push people through the system, it makes them more mechanical and less inspirational. Wow,
Hmm.
that's powerful. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it, 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 we're so unique, so it's hard to have a one size fits all kind of approach to education. Of course, we should have a system that we do it through, but there has to be some personal touches. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some schools like my my kids' school. They go to Bush Elementary, my Bush Elementary people, um, and they are a leader in me school, and so
Hmm.
that means that they are teaching the kids at such an early age how to be leaders. The
Hmm.
seven highly effective habits of 7 habits of highly effective people.
Hmm.
That's how they carve their teachings and their events and everything that they do around those habits about being proactive, first things first, and think about
Hmm.
first one and try to be understood before you want to understand, all those principles, and those are all biblical principles. And so
Hmm.
I really value how the teachers teach each one. My son, his confidence level way high because his teacher, Miss Hernandez, she is incredible. She's so proud of him. She's always giving him accolades. And so it might seem like he's just 6, but what she is doing is building him up in such a way that I say he will grow up to be a young man that has confidence in his ability, in his
Hmm.
abilities, and can see his abilities. Same
Hmm.
thing with Abigail's teacher, Miss Dirk. She's like, Abigail, you're such an artist. You're such a great writer, and so, just speaking those words of affirmation and love. And so I've seen, and this is a public school, so I've seen it here as well, those unique pockets of teachers that are going above and beyond just to inspire the next generation. Because it's
Yeah.
that kind of intentionality, as you said, that you're wanting to foster inspiration. Those are the
Hmm.
people that will say, I can run for president. I can go to the moon. I can be the top scientist. I want to be a teacher. That's what we want. And America, has been doing that. And I don't want us to start investing in our public schools, because sometimes we just you group everyone in one bunch,
Hmm.
and then you label them. And then because you label them a certain label, then you don't uniquely take care of them. Because the same thing I'm seeing here about how we talk about our public schools, how we don't give them enough investment, is the same thing I see in how we talk about Africa and the
Hmm.
kind of investment that Africa has.
Right.
So you see all these same trends. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of hit it on the nail with the teachers, speaking words of affirmation, encouragement at a very young age, giving them independence, but also helping them to let them make their own decisions, but in a positive way. I think I think the teachers really need their accolades. I think we should just say thank you, teachers who actually put extra
Teachers.
into the students. Um,
Absolutely.
because I do see the difference. And it's not just teachers, but leaders in the community, people at your church, people who can literally like lift your spirits when you just had a bad day. I've had a few moments where I would just talk to the right person, or even talk to just a stranger who just learned, like, knew how to speak to me. And I just love everything you're doing. I love your organization, but I also want to ask you, how can people be a part of C-Life?
Absolutely. So we make it very easy to be a part. Our biggest need is obviously partners that will give financially to this work. We have been sustained thus far because of generous donors for the last 8 years. We've been doing this work. So you can give on our website, myclife.org. So it's the letter C, life.org. And if you go there, you will see donate buttons in bright red, and you can't miss it. You can give monthly, which is our most preferred. You look at your budget and just say, hey, maybe I can give $25 a month, or 50 a month, 150 a month, depending on what you're able. And you might say, okay, but $25, that's not much. That's a lot. When you set it automatically recurring, and we have $25 a month, we know that we can count on that money coming in. So it allows us to be able to do the work more effectively. If you don't want to give monthly, you can give a single gift, right? We have our spring fundraiser campaign will be coming out soon after Easter. But you don't need to wait for that. You can go right now on our website, myclife.org, and then be able to donate as the Lord leads you. We will truly appreciate it. So some other ways that you can be a part, as organizations, you can sponsor our trip coming up. You can be a sponsor for a trip, or you can be a sponsor for our events. That's other ways that you can give. Or you can give for a scholarship. So I told you about the training program. We have one starting up then next month, and then another one starting in the summer. And so you can give scholarships to that program. It costs $1,500 to train one servant leader because of the way that we do it. It's very intense, very intentional. We put them into life groups. They have to do community service. They have mentors. So this is a 3-month intensive. They come to our training 3 times a week. So it's like you really have to be committed to do the work. And so in order for us to get all those people involved, it costs that much, but they only pay less than $10, right? Because it's been supplemented by donors. So if you want to be a part of this work, we invite you. It will be our honor to have you on the team. We call you our I Love Africa partner. And then you'll be able to see the work being done. That's one thing that we are very happy we do. We're not the kind of organizations that you give and you don't really know what's going on. Thank God for social media, because on our social pages, you'll be able to see every single thing happening on the ground. All the events, all the transformation going on. We just finished a big project in we call Transform, where we're spotlighting some of our alumni that had been doing work in the orphan care space. So we just highlighted them for a whole month, engaged the community and other alumni. And so they all went to, we chose 2 orphanages for the whole month to do different things, from reading, cooking classes, beads, skills, sanitation, all these other things. Then all these alumni were coming to teach. The community they were coming to help. We had one alumni who has a barber shop. He brought some of his staff. They came and gave the boys haircuts, and the girls got their hairs plaited. It was just so great. And you can see all of that on our social pages with videos and stuff like that. So the work is very visible, and when you give, you feel good that it's really going to the people that need it, and it will really make a difference. So we really need you.
Absolutely. And I do encourage y'all to be a part of this organization. Like she said, it's a transformation, not just an organization, but they're transforming lives in the communities that these people are in. And I'm just loving everything that you're doing. I hope that C-Life comes to Dallas because I feel like this is something that we need so bad. But I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna keep you in my prayers in your organization, but I know you're gonna be doing great things. Can you tell our viewers one more time about the trip to Africa and when it's gonna be?
Absolutely. So we're taking a 10-day mission trip to Cameroon and Rwanda. So you get two for one, right? And it's going to be a trip where you get to participate in sharing to train some of the professionals that we've been talking about in any kind of unique skill. Again, we're going to focus in three areas: leadership. So if you have some unique training in leadership or experience in leadership, we can use you. Another one will be career development, some training in helping them see how their faith and their work together, right? So any kind of training in that area. So all my marketplace ministry people, or if you're a Christian but you've always made sure that you lived it out in your work, just like you, Rachel, right? You live it out in your work that you do. We can really use you. And then the third part will be on career development, to do some anything that will help them create a business for themselves or advance the business they already have and so forth. So bottom line is you do some training. You will get to visit some of the alumni's workplaces so that you hear from their bosses how great they are, we will be visiting that clinic that I told you about, the young people that are running it, and they just got a million franc grant that they won. They won first place in a pitch competition. So very proud of them. Quality Healthcare Clinic is their clinic. Very proud of the work that Durance and the husband are doing, Rahul over there. So you get to see some of that and just really being inspired, because the beauty about a mission trip is that it inspires everyone that goes to do something different or to go deeper in the calling that God has for them. And so you do that, then you will be our special guest for our commissioning. So I told you that 2 cohorts are being recruited. So by the time we get there in September, they will be done with the program and we'll be commissioning them to the marketplace. So it's a whole event that we do, and we invite the community to come out, and you don't want to miss that. It is just so inspirational. So you'll be a special guest there, and that day will be at the end of the day, we'll have a trade fair where you get to be exposed to all what the alumni are doing. So Cameroon is all hands-on. Of course, you're going to enjoy the culture. So we're going to have cooking class in Cameroon, a tour. We'll go to the gorilla sanctuary to go see the gorillas over there in Cameroon. The Cameroon is all hands-on work, right? But then when we go to Rwanda is vision. Rwanda is for us to dream. Rwanda is what they call the new frontier of Africa. So if you've never really known a different side of Africa, you will get to experience it here in Rwanda. Because Rwanda, we all know the story of Rwanda from the genocide. But how
Right.
were they able to rise out of the genocide and be a country that is so developed, so organized? That one of they call Rwanda the cleanest country in the world, one of the cleanest countries in the world. How were they able to rise above that? You see that some of the reasons why they are who they are right now is because they focus on the things that we are focusing on in Cameroon:
Mm-hmm.
leadership, business, community transformation, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
just doing it for you, but doing it as a community. And so we want to give our guests that opportunity to see the vision and see
Mm-hmm.
if we keep doing what we're doing here in Cameroon, this is where we want to end up. We don't know how long it will take, but hey, that is the Lord that has that, right? So you
Right.
get to be a part of that. So this trip is happening September 10th to the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Please come with me. It will be a delight for me to show you where I grew up and for you to experience all these things I talked about. Again, to learn more and to register for that, you can go to our webpage, myclife.org/trips. So it's my letter C life.org/trips.
All right, guys. Well, y'all heard it here first. I'm so glad to have you on my show. Thank you for your time. And
Thank you.
I'm hoping we come back with a follow-up interview because I feel like this is not going to be our last interview on the channel.
Those prayers, when those prayers start working, they will come and say, thanks.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I got another guest coming up on another episode, but for this one, we're going to go ahead and conclude. So please go follow the C-Life organization, everything that she's doing. Sheila is just wonderful. She's a great person, she's a great mentor, a great, sister to encourage you, especially when you're going through a really tough time. And if you need prayer, she's right there too. So also, go follow What's Up Dallas Magazine as we are bringing all the positivity to you and your families here in DFW. And we got a lot of great stories coming up. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.